Siphiwo Mtimkulu, the young student leader who turned into a ghost, who turned into ashes. But this week was the start of the great telling of one of apartheid's most heinous crimes. 4 security policemen, 2 generals and 2 colonels, faced the nation to unravel the secrets surrounding the death of Eastern Cape student leader Siphiwo Mtimkulu and his friend Topsy Mdaka. General GERRIT ERASMUS, who gave the order for the killing. General Nick van RENSBURG, a multiple killer who assassinated one of the young men. Colonel HERMANUS du Plessis, co-conspirator, and Colonel GIDEON NIEUWOUDT, also a multiple killer, torturer and liar who fired his bullet into the other activist. For many years, these killer policemen denied any complicity in torturing, kidnapping or killing Mtimkulu or Mdaka.
Because it was the first time I was going to hear about how my son died. So I can say it meant a lot to me after so many years. This thing has been hidden.
I came to the hearings because I'm interested in this thing. Not because I was 3 months old at that time.
This week, the 4 security policemen owned up to the activist's execution on the night of April 14, 1982.
The following evening, did you give the deceased some of these sleeping tablets? That is so. How did you do this? It was in the coffee that I offered them. I put an overdose of the tablets in the coffee and I gave it to them to drink.
Did you collect branches and tree trunks? Yes, that is correct.
You and Mr. van RENSBURG, or you, was it you and Mr. van RENSBURG carried them out? Mr. van RENSBURG and I carried them out.
Did you then shoot Siphiwo Mtimkulu? Yes, that is correct. And the warrant officer for Topsy Mdaka? Yes, that is correct.
Van RENSBURG shot the one person, you shot the other. That is so, Your Honour.
We placed them on the firewood. We first put down a layer of firewood and then we put the corpses on top of the firewood.
During the course of the evening, on several occasions, you had to keep the fire going and put on more wood.
And the next morning, Captain du Plessis and Mr. NIEUWOUDT collected the remains.
The next morning, did you gather the remains and throw these into the fish river? That is correct.
The same evening, the 2 deceased's vehicle was left near a border post in Lesotho.
It was a harrowing week for the families and friends of the 2 activists. Some cried, others broke down. Many were angry. They listened and heard a tale of incredible cruelty committed by men who said they were misled by the policies of the apartheid government.
I was very upset about that. Looking at a man who pulled a trigger to kill my son. And there is no evidence that they are giving that Siphiwo did. There was no reason for them to do that, I can say. They should have prosecuted Siphiwo.
No forgiveness at all.
Why not?
Because they killed my father. and I'm the one who's feeling the most pain.
They are people of no description, not even evil. I can't describe them. I haven't got words to describe their cruelty. They are the people whom they must take out of the communities. Just throw them anywhere where you can keep them just by themselves.
They should die also.
Why do you say that? Because this is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Because they kill, so they must die also.
The story of Siphiwo Mtimkulu started in the late 70s with his rise as leader of the Congress of South African Students in the Eastern Cape. The security police turned their attention to him.
My impression, with great piety, Your Honour, my impression was that he was extremely militant because of the conflict between the black ideology and the whites really came to the fore.
He was a leader among the people involved in the school's unrest. He was also responsible for chasing pupils out of the schools, he together with another group of the pupils who wished to attend school. He was the contact to collect the pamphlets from the late Chris Hani, which had been drafted by the ANC in Lesotho. They just received the pamphlets with the purpose of distributing it here internally in the country. He was a speaker at all these meetings, and where they incited the crowd to violence. In this regard, I just wish to point out that the politicization was taking place openly. The incitement to violence was done in a subtle manner, and particularly after the meetings, groups who had already been instructed to do so then further incited the masses to violence.
Mtimkulu was arrested and incarcerated for several months. When he left prison a few months later, he was a shadow of his former self. 2 days after leaving jail, he couldn't walk. Medical tests revealed that he had been poisoned with thallium while in detention. He was confined to a wheelchair, but miraculously survived. The policeman denied this week that they had anything to do with his poisoning.
Because I did not have any part in it. If you say you didn't have any part in it, do you have, that's now personally, do you have any knowledge of it? No, I don't have any knowledge of it. Before I told you what thallium poison was more or less, did you know anything about it? No, Your Honour. Did you administer poison to Mr. Mtimkulu, or do you know about anybody? No, I don't know. So they were included with that. You also didn't give him poison? No, I didn't. Definitely not.
They're still lying because they are denying the poison. They are just telling us about the killing now. How they killed, how they were preparing to kill them.
I think we were dealing with Mr. Mtimkulu's role. You say he addressed meetings? That is correct. Did he do so from his wheelchair? He did so, Your Honour. Did the fact that he was confined to a wheelchair affect his competence as a speaker? No. As a political speaker, to state it more clearly? No, not at all. The fact that he was in a wheelchair Did he use this as an example of what the agents of the apartheid regime allegedly did to him? That is so, Your Honor. If I remember correctly, the terminology that was used was, this was what the system had done to me. The fact that he was in a wheelchair, did he attend meetings in his wheelchair and address the meetings from his wheelchair? Yes, that is correct. They transported him from one meeting to the next, where he addressed these meetings and used as an example that whatever the system wished to do to him, he would continue with the struggle.
When he was released, he was a wheelchair case.
That is correct.
At the time of his death, he was still hobbling around with the aid of a stick. He couldn't walk properly.
That is correct.
The man you considered so potentially dangerous as an activist that he should be killed.
That is correct.
Topsy Mdaka, Siphiwo's close friend, was also under surveillance.
Your Honor, according to the information which we had, Topsy Mdaka was involved in a covered underground structure You can continue. Which was a structure which was responsible to act as a courier between Lesotho and South Africa, also to recruit scholars for military training outside of South Africa.
Du Plessis and van Rensburg presented a plan to General ERASMUS to have the two activists eliminated.
And what was the ultimate conclusion which the three of you reached? Our final conclusion was that there was no other way detention or any other thing other than to eliminate these people. When you're talking about elimination, you mean to kill them. That is correct.
There might have been an even more sinister reason for the killing of the two activists. Days after Mtimkulu had decided to sue the Minister of Police for torture and poisoning, the four men plotted his death.
It must have caused you some considerable concern, Mr. Erasmus.
It was a difficult situation, it was uncomfortable, it was an embarrassment for the South African police.
Yes, highly embarrassing and highly dangerous. Would you agree?
That's correct.
And it was 2 days after that summons was issued that discussions commenced between you and your co-applicants about murdering this person who had instituted action against the police.
Correct, yes?
A somewhat unfortunate coincidence, was it not?
The Amnesty Commission will have to decide whether the security policeman made a full and frank confession. But what remains clear is that the manner in which a hero died disturbed the Eastern Cape community this week. Moments after Nick van Rensburg admitted his complicity in the killing, there was chaos in the hall. An unknown man, armed with a ballpoint pen, stormed onto the stage.
You know, I'm sick because I'm crying. I haven't got even a chance to talk to you because I'm very upset.
When it comes from the horse's mouth, you know, from the person who has done the thing, really it's touching my heart, you know. And everybody, I'm sure, is touched. It's very sad. And particularly his closest people, his family, his children, That's why they cannot cope with it now.
It's a sad story. We can't manage a story. To see somebody flying like a fish. I don't know what can I say. It's a terrible story that gets in my heart. Very sorry. Very sad story.
All the while, Joyce and Siphiwo Mtimkulu remained calm and dignified, but obviously with anger in their hearts. Do you hate Van Rensburg?
Terrible. I hate him, terrible.
And NIEUWOUDT?
All them. All them. All of them.
The attitude of the security policemen were probably best illustrated by Gideon NIEUWOUDT's lawyer, Francois van der Merwe, who moments after the crowd started weeping, uttered these words, which were accidentally recorded.
15 jaar geleden nou van konijn die eerste keer.
I will agree that maybe I summarized the matter wrong, but I'm of the opinion that the whole situation is so emotionally charged that different people will get different messages from what is happening.
Maybe the last words in a harrowing week of testimony belongs to Joyce Mtimkulu, a mother whose son was broken by apartheid and then removed from the face of the earth.
I have not forgiven them. Why must I forgive them when they don't want to tell the truth? And the beauty part of this, they are not asking forgiveness from us, the people who have lost their beloved ones. They are asking forgiveness from the government. They did not do nothing to the government. What they did to us.
I want them to take me where they shot him and where are his bones now.
Why do you want them to do it?
Because that will mean a lot to me. Because I didn't even see him.
So am I right in saying you have still not made peace with your son's death?
I have not yet. I wish I could, because it's too long. We are also going to die. I admit dying. Everybody is going to die. Even NIEUWOUDT is going to die. Van Rensburg is going to die. Whoever is going to die.